In this GYDA Talks, Robert interviews Joe Hine of SI Partners. Joe specialises in corporate finance, providing merger and acquisition advice on high-value cross-border deals. He manages the sale process end-to-end, including buyer identification, offer negotiation and completion. Robert and Joe discuss the death of deals over 100 million, the players and the mergers and acquisitions world pre-COVID, plus everything that you need to know if you want to sell in 2020.
Hello and welcome to the GYDA Initiative Talks, and today I am absolutely delighted to have Joe Hine from SI Partners. SI Partners do mergers and acquisitions, so I know this is going to be an absolutely fascinating conversation. Hello Joe.
Hi, how you doing, Robert?
Doing very well indeed. And tell me, Joe, let's just go straight in. So just give us a quick background, a quick description for people listening and watching so they can understand who Joe is and what you do.
Okay. So, I'm a consultant, M&A advisor, cyclist, mountaineer, father. But, what I do, what my company does is, we take agencies from the point at which they are thinking about doing something. They're sat on some value and they're thinking about, okay, what next for me and my business? And we take them through that journey to realizing value. And, often that's a sale, but by no means always.
So to be absolutely clear, the space that you're working in is working with agencies who are trying to exit. That's the main thrust of the work you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So if someone's starting to think about, I've built something that's valuable, and what am I going to do with it? What are my opportunities? And we often start at that point and help people crystallize that, understand their options, understand what they can do with it. But importantly, and I guess what we're is a lot more visible is our success in transactions. So we can actually take that forward and deliver on that for people to realize value.
So the people who be listening and watching here, I guess the majority of people here are anything from startups up to about 200 staff. And I think what they have in common on the whole is they are independent marketing agency, independent digital agency folk. So you're not just dealing with the big sexy headlines on the Financial Times thing. You're also dealing with us honest folk who've been working a little back.
Look, and that's our heartland. I mean, that's we grew up in we've been doing it for 20 years as a business. Our history is through communications businesses, marketing businesses, and what we're really good at is working with entrepreneurs. So the stuff in the FT, I mean, we have been in the FT, but it's a bit few and far between. We're much more familiar with the Drum and Campaign and the Wired and the likes of those kind of those publications. And and we work with entrepreneurs. That's what we love, and helping them on their journey. So sorts of businesses is you describe the size of businesses is exactly our sweet spot. And we sit in a space of creative technology and consulting. It's sort of like a triangle, and all of our businesses sit within that triangle. And the technology is often human powered, but a lot of it is people, businesses, and the technology related to that.
So I mean, this is fascinating for us because there's a couple of, we'll pick it up as the interview goes, but I'm always approached with the so how much do you think the business is worth? I've been told about multipliers of 15 and 20. So we can deal with that nonsense conversation in a minute.
No, happy to.
And the other conversation is always around, and I'd love to know what your take on it is about sort of the numbers game. The number of people who come to me saying something along the lines of, we're going to grow the business for 4 years and then we're going to exit. Yeah, how many people actually do that? And actually, is that the best way of realizing value from an agency? Because I don't suspect, I believe, that quite often, if you're trying to get value out of your 50-person agency, say, there may be a number of options, of which exit is one, and obviously works for a lot of people, but it's not a open and closed book. Anyhow, let's get back onto the
Yeah.
So we're having this interview. I'd like to say post-COVID, but it's not post-COVID because it's the end of May 2020. We've had 8 to 10 weeks, really hard weeks, where the world has changed. Can you just tell us first what was the world like up until about February 2020? Because to all intents and purposes, I understood that it was, M&A in this field was really, really buoyant.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was the market until Q1 this year, even through Q1 this year was exceedingly buoyant. I mean, the way that we describe it is strategic by active. So strategic but selective. So, there's a lot of activity, but people were buying very specific things. And the reason there's a lot of activity is because there's a lot of buyers. Okay. And, in the agency world, you roll back 10 years, you had 10, 20 buyers, right? And they were the marketing groups, the holding companies, and some other players, and a lot of financial engineering. Roll forward 20 years, a lot of it is to do with the digital age. If I'm completely honest, that has completely changed it, because you have many different businesses converging on and around the same space. Yeah. So you've got the consultancies that people talk about in an amorphous mass, which is incorrect. You've got very distinct, you've got management consultancies, you've got accounting-based consultancies, you've got technology consultancies. They're very distinct groups and very different. And we sold businesses to all of them. And they're very different feel and different plays in each. You've got emerging groups. So a lot of private equity money. So people like you and Mr. Jones, Stagwell, that got huge war chests that have gone on and bought big empires, or privately or listed groups like S4 Capital, and they're kind of seeing that the old marcomms groups were dying. Or the business models are broken, they're readjusting, they're reinventing themselves, they're struggling. And they said, and to a large part because of digital, because of the way that marketing has changed, and they haven't really kept up with it. And they're saying, well, actually, I want to build something fresh from the ground up that actually cuts through. And you put Accenture in that group about building the new model, and they're very interesting. I was on the phone to them this morning. Plus you've just got a plethora of small mid-tier groups that are doing their thing and being very, very sort of successful in building their capability. So it's become incredibly diverse. We, as I said, there was 20 bars before. We've now got about 1,500 contacts on our books across about 750 different buyers. In different parts of the field, that various different businesses will sit within different kind of pockets. So so I didn't even talk about technology buyers, about martech platforms, ad tech platforms. It really is a completely diverse universe. So it was an incredibly exciting time to be doing M&A. But then you're right, COVID-19 hit March of this year, and it's changing things a bit.
So what's the impact? Because I know, we've got a client who. Digital stroke PR agency that had the sale was set up, and the transaction was due to go through on, I think, March the 30th, and it didn't.
Yeah.
And the tragedy of that, there's the double whammy. It's a 50-person agency. Double whammy is not only did the owner think that after 20 years of being in business, he had his fair dues and his fair payoff. Step one. But step two, he had no business. He literally lost 95% of business overnight. So we have these stories, okay, and they're very distressing, clearly.
Yeah.
But there are also there must still be. Is it a different appetite, or there must still be an appetite for purchasing agencies? Because there are an awful lot of agencies coming to me saying, "This is getting a bit hard. Can you give me some ideas how to get out of this colander I'm stuck in?"
Yeah, look, and there was a reaction. I think everybody felt a reaction. That first 2, 3, 4 weeks, everything seemed to just shut down. No, there was so much uncertainty, and I talked to a lot of the lawyers that we work with, and they were saying, look, deals were getting pulled left, right, and centre, and that's because they were based on, and I don't know if you've come across this term, it's quite widely bandied around, EBITDA, so EBITDA before COVID-19, and and clearly you're anything that you were kind of halfway through the process and then suddenly this hits, and it's just like, well, I don't know what the answer is, I don't know what my revenue is going to be, I don't know what my profit's going to be, I've just got no, and actually my business has been affected and I don't know by how much. That's all stopped and got put on the burner. Anything, and I think you're going to see M&A statistics in the press, in the FT, absolutely crash, because anything over, let's say 100 million valuation, probably even a bit less, will die, and it has died. You can see M&A teams in the Morgan Stanleys and people like that are just laying off people and furloughing their entire teams, because no one's going to go to market. It's too much risk, A, for a buyer, and B, for a seller in terms of getting value. But there is still part of the market that is absolutely active, and we've spent the last 6 weeks talking to all the buyers that we know and getting our position and understanding what's going on. And broadly, anyone that is exposed to marketing budgets only, so the holding companies, are retrenching. Anyone that has a diversified portfolio of client revenue streams, so technology consultancies, management consultancies, the likes of those businesses are see this as strategic, and there's a need for them to develop their digital, their understanding of the digital world and support their clients in digital transformation. And arguably digital transformation now is far more important than it's ever been. Primark's the wonderful example that you'll have seen on LinkedIn. So we've taken 4 businesses to market since the end of March, and what we've experienced is people are moving quicker. People are, willing to do things over video conference that and meetings can go in a greater frequency, and much easier to have. You don't have to wait for people to be in the same location. And we'll have offers. We've got offers on 1, 2 by the end of the month. We're pretty sure we're going to get offers next month. So and there are businesses out there that haven't been as impacted, and because the process has begun after going into COVID-19. Everyone knows, the new normal is what everyone's expecting, and they're looking at trading and they're going, well, trading's still robust. So, we can still transact on this basis. So I do think M&A is going to change, but it's still very much there.